How do you play a hymn with one hand tied behind your back? Today I'm going to share the story behind Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, a strongly poetic Christian hymn, and tell how one of the darkest months in my musical career taught me the techniques for arranging for just one hand. This is the story behind the song. It never looked like Robert Robinson would compose a hymn. Born in 1735, he was very smart, great with languages, but too poor to get a proper education. Instead, he got apprenticed to a barber in London. He hated it. Taking out his frustrations, he started the 18th century equivalent of a street gang. And when he was 17, he and his mates went out one night to get wasted and heckle the local revivalist. But instead of shouting, Robinson found himself listening to the famed evangelist George Whitefield. He was so convicted, he converted on the spot. Leaving behind barbering, he took up studying. He studied to be a pastor. He wrote sermons, hymns, and books of theology. When he was only 22, he wrote Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, an incredible meditation on grace. I grew up loving this hymn and the traditional English tune, Nettleton, but I didn't give it much thought until a Thursday morning in January. I was early 20s, about the same age Robinson was when he wrote it, and I had just come out of a hectic holiday harp season. I had played 42 different holiday events between Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day. I had way overextended myself, and the muscles in my forearm had started to burn. I was terrified I was developing tendinitis. Friends of mine had developed tendinitis and stopped playing music, and I was a full-time professional performer, and looking down months of not being able to play at all, I was panicking. Fortunately, I only had one paying gig that January, playing therapy music at a senior facility. And since I was using my smallest harp, I hoped no one would notice if I was playing with only one hand. So I tied my left arm up in a brace and went. I was walking down a hallway, not really thinking about the melody that I was doodling, and I walked past a physical therapy room and burst into tears. And that was when I realized I was playing the tune, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, tune my heart to sing thy praise. This beautiful poetry has some archaic words in it. Verse 2 has this line, Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I come. Robinson grabs the word Ebenezer from the book of 1 Samuel in the Old Testament, where the Israelites erect a stone pillar as a memorial that God helped them, and name it Ebenezer. To raise an Ebenezer is to remember this far God has helped us. As I'm standing in that hallway, the words hit me, and I'm reminded I made it this far. We made it this far. It doesn't matter about your arm. It doesn't matter about your fear. We made it this far. We can keep going. Fortunately, my arm healed, and the next year, I was able to record that arrangement of Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing as the first track on my new CD of hymns and variations for solo harp. Teach me some melodious sonnet sung by flaming tongues above. What I loved about that January arrangement that I kept playing even when I could still use both hands was how I harmonized the melody with arpeggios in just one hand. Now, there are two ways to harmonize a melody. You can play all the notes together in a chord, or you can split the notes up and play them in an arpeggio. For this arrangement, I chose to do arpeggios. In fact, the word harp comes from the Italian arpa, or arpeggios. It just fits the instrument so well, and it fits the arrangement. On a song about fountains, arpeggios sound like falling drops of water. Because the harp has so much sustain, You can separate the notes of the harmony out, but they keep ringing and coloring the melody after them, creating a great harmony balance. But if you play the melody and the harmony in the same hand, in the same octave, with the same emphasis, it's kind of hard to tell what's what. We usually split those things up. We'll put the melody high and the harmonies low, or we'll put the melody in one instrument like a voice and we'll put the harmony in a different instrument. But I was only working with one instrument, one octave, one hand. Instead of trying to jump octaves, I focused on a different quality of note, a different volume, a different emphasis. I created a sort of volume wave inside each phrase, really focusing on creating a shape, an organic volume change so that the harmonies tapered off and let the melody stand out. The first verse builds from just the melody in one hand to the melody with arpeggios. And for a month in January, I perfected that. Then, when I got my other hand back, I started adding more single notes in the left hand on the second verse. For the third verse, I added arpeggios in the left hand as well, in contrary motion, or going up while the right hand is going down. But if I never played a note in the left hand, it would still be a rich arrangement. So from the reformed life of a rowdy Robert Robinson to a harpist who is grateful she can still use both her arms, that's the story behind Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Check out my other video where I perform Come Thou Fount on my lever harp, or my CD is available on iTunes and Spotify, where it's the first track of my album Hymns and Variations. The sheet music for this arrangement is now available on my website, annahagenharpist.com, links in the description, and please like and subscribe for more harp hymns, arrangement ideas, and the stories behind them both.